I, 35 female, separated from my husband, 37, over 10 years ago. Unfortunately, he's left me with a lot of debt to pay and in a position where I was nearly homeless. I only finished paying off the debt 2 years ago, but there's still a lot of work to do to improve my credit history. Because of all the stress he caused me, we never got divorced or formally separated. As a matter of fact, we never spoke after I was kicked out of the flat, so his girlfriend Anna could move in. I was planning to file for divorce once I had enough spare income, but some events took place before I was able to do so. Now, to where I can be an idiot. 2 months ago, my husband passed away in a freak accident. He left no will behind and has a house which is paid off with his girlfriend. He ended up getting a big promotion at work. I've spoken to the lawyer, and because we never divorced or filed for separation, I'm entitled to half of the house as his next of kin. Last week, I informed Anna through a letter that I wanted the house to be sold. She can buy my half, or I will have to force a sale. It's up to her. I don't want to live in the house, but the money from the sale could really help to sort out the damage done by the loans I had to pay for the ex, as well as a deposit for my own place, so I don't have to live in an absolute nightmare due to poor credit and not a very high-paying job. It will also help me work on my qualifications so I can get a better job and retire. However, Anna and my ex's family have called me a massive idiot, saying I have no right to the house, legally I do, and that I'm being cruel and vindictive. I've reminded them that this is not my fault their son hasn't divorced me or had a will, and said I don't see how it's unfair as I had to pay for his debts while he lived a comfy life. So, am I the idiot? Edit, neither I nor my late husband and his girlfriend have any children. My ex has maxed out my credit cards and took loans in my name, as well as cleared out our savings account to fund his relationship with Anna and some of his gambling habits at the time. Due to being busy with work, I didn't discover the loans and cards being maxed out until it was too late, and I had a few notices of non-payment and him kicking me out and basically making it seem to everyone that I had the problem and he loaned me money, which I paid him back by taking loans and cards, as well as if I wanted him back, so made him gifts. The total amount of debt is a bit over $50,000, which also resulted in me losing my job while he got to keep his well-paid job. Regarding the house, both Anna and my ex are on the deeds and had joint mortgages, from what I was told, so legally she is entitled to the other half of the house. This man had 10 years to make a will and to force a divorce. He chose not to because it benefited him in some way. Well, now it benefits you, not the idiot. I hope the sale helps you. You owe nothing to his girlfriend. Sell the house and be done with it. Also, stop paying his debts if they are not also your debts. Some companies can assume you're admitting to the debts as your own by paying them. He had 10 years to make a will and to force a divorce. He chose not to. In many places, if they divorced, he'd have to take on half that debt. With no divorce, she had to pay it off to access credit and rebuild her life. Once she finished paying it off, she could start saving up. If he put his money into the apartment and into his girlfriend's accounts, waited a few years, then got divorced, he could have pressed for half of her savings, then negotiated to leave them alone in exchange for her relinquishing her 25% claim in the apartment. Someone who lies that well, defrauds and frames other people like this, can do something like that. His sudden unexpected death just wasn't part of the plan. Right? By being a selfish idiot, in the end he screwed over his nasty girlfriend who no doubt knew he was running up OP's cards too. Perfection. I love how this worked out for the OP. It saves her from future financial misery by this guy, and she gets to recoup some of her losses. Happy ending. It's called karma. OP, your ex has managed to repay you accidentally. I'm gonna guess neither Anna nor ex's family were concerned about the right thing to do when you were the one being negatively impacted. It sucks for Anna, but bad decisions often have bad consequences. Let Anna's family pick up her tab. She had no conscience or remorse knowing the situation your ex left you in, and now nor should you. Force the sale and take what you're due, OP. My boyfriend, 25, recently moved in with me, 21 female. The biggest problem we've had so far is arguments about cooking. He lived off ramen and sandwiches before moving in, so he says I'm the one who cares about food. Note that he happily eats what I cook, suggests recipes to try, and hasn't had any ramen since moving in. Even though I bought it for him, he chooses the food I make. So since I'm cooking for myself, anyways, I might as well cook for him too. I told him that isn't fair. Either he needs to pick up more chores to compensate for never cooking, or he needs to cook about 3 days a week. He said he didn't care about food, so he shouldn't have to cook. I'm just doing it for myself. So I only cook for myself. I got him a pack of ramen, even his preferred brand, and only made portions for me. He was angry when I made myself risotto and he got a bowl of ramen, and I reminded him that he didn't care about food. Am I the idiot here? I don't mean to be difficult, but expecting me to cook all the time is not fair. After several conversations about this that led nowhere, I decided to call his bluff. We pay bills 50-50 if that matters. It's been about a week and he's angry and told me it's no more effort for me to cook for two than for one. But it's about the principle. I have college full-time and work part-time, he works full-time. Right now we each do our own laundry and take turns doing dishes. I deep clean the kitchen and bathroom every 2 weeks and he vacuums once a week and mops every 2 weeks. I cook and do groceries, and change the sheets and take out the trash and dust. Not the idiot. Perhaps instead of taking turns doing the dishes, you could do the cooking and he can do all the dishes. They're both daily chores and are kind of related, so fairness is more or less baked in. His argument that you are cooking for yourself anyway isn't a good one, really. If it stands, then his once-a-week vacuuming is for himself and shouldn't count. He's trying to pretend he doesn't care, but as soon as it inconveniences him, he suddenly cares. He does want you to cook for him and he values your cooking. So what does he get out of pretending he doesn't care? It's just a way to devalue your labor so he doesn't feel obliged to contribute. Next, he won't care about laundry, then he won't care if the house is clean, etc. Girl, you're another example of why men in relationships live longer and better lives and women's life gets worse, and the extra stress will take some years from your life too. Move him out until he's a man you would like to live with, or get someone else. Right now, a roommate would be a better partner to live with. My 38 male work held our annual holiday party last Friday. It was held at one of those axe-throwing places, which I've never done before, so I figured it would be pretty fun. My wife, 36, and I have 3 kids, a tween, a pre-tween, and a kindergartner, so we rarely get out of the house for dates. The holiday party was planned almost 2 months ago, and my wife agreed to attend with me. I suggested we make it more of a date by either going out for drinks after the party or catching a late-night movie. She thought this was a good idea too. I also arranged for a babysitter to watch the kids that night. On the day of my party, my wife got home from work and told me that she'd had a horrible day and was in a bad space mentally, so she didn't want to come to the party. I told her I was disappointed but understood if she wanted to stay home. As I was getting myself ready to head to the party, I called the babysitter and cancelled. I apologized to her and offered to Venmo her an hour's worth of our agreed rate, $30, to compensate for the cancellation, and she agreed that was reasonable. As I was getting ready to leave, my wife asked when the babysitter was going to come. I kind of looked at her funny and told her that I just cancelled the babysitter because she was no longer coming with me. She got mad at me and told me that she knew I had a bad day, was in a bad mental state and needed some time to herself. I told her that I'd assumed none of that meant she was incapable of watching our kids, and that I didn't think having the babysitter come when my wife was home made any sense at all. She told me to call her back and see if she could still come to watch the kids, and I told her that if she wanted to do that, she could do it, but I'm not going to. She tried to argue with me about it, but I told her that I had to leave for the party. While I was at the party, she sent me multiple texts about how the kids were driving her nuts, that the babysitter didn't answer her calls, and that she needed me to come home. She kept blowing up my phone, and eventually I left the party over an hour early to go home. When I got there, she kept arguing with me about how I was an idiot for cancelling the babysitter when I knew she had a rough day. I told her I wasn't going to pay a babysitter just so that my wife could rest after a bad day. I told her she could have just thrown a movie on for the kids and relaxed. I told her that she was the one who ruined our potential night out, and that having a bad day at work is not a good enough reason to pay a babysitter $200. She still thinks I was an idiot for cancelling the babysitter without talking to her first, and she's still mad at me for it. But I don't think that was an unreasonable assumption to make, considering that there have been plenty of times when I've had a bad day, and I'm still 100% capable of watching the kids by myself while my wife leaves the house. You are the idiot. First off, if you're going to cancel on your sitter within 12 hours, you should be paying her for the time she set aside for you. She can't find another gig at that time and probably depends on the money. Paying her for 1 hour is just insulting. Second, it's weird that you just immediately cancelled the sitter. You didn't even give your wife time to settle in and decide if she wanted to go for a walk or treat herself to some takeout by herself. Or maybe she got sick. Have you even asked? People always use sitters when they aren't actually going to an event. You could have checked in with her and given her the option. I agree, part of being in a true partnership is not going tit for tat, allowing your partner to be off the hook once in a while, working through minor disappointments, showing up for your person and communicating. It seems you missed the boat on all of those things. It sounds like you cancelled the babysitter to punish your wife for not going with you. For all the parents and/or folks who aren't independently wealthy responding OP's the idiot, please ask yourself this. When was the last time, after having a rough day at work, you decided that was a good reason to spend $200 on a babysitter so that you could stay home with your kids and the sitter? What? Never. Then shut up. Of course, OP, the person who made all the arrangements for their long-planned and much-anticipated date, cancelled the sitter because he hired her because no parent was going to be home with the kids. Why on earth would he throw away $200? That cash can be put towards the sitter when they're both able to go out. OP's not the idiot. Am I the only one who wonders if the wife would go out and do something else, and that's why she was angry about not having tried to put her down? My mom told us they were planning for her to spend Christmas with the family. I said that would be fine as long as the dog stayed home. I did comment that he's only for mental health and she'll have my brother so she won't need the dog desperately. My parents agreed and explained the conditions to my brother and his girlfriend, who broke down in tears. They think I'm alienating her. I disagree and think I'm protecting my daughter's peace. My brother's girlfriend argues that her dog is fine and maybe his being friendly before upset her so she won't let him greet anyone. I know from experience that doesn't work with my daughter. I told my parents if the dog was there, we would not be. They have as such declared the dog an unwelcome guest. My brother is angry because this is his first Christmas with his girlfriend and we celebrate it every year with my parents. They should get this year. I don't think a girlfriend is more important than their grandchild, and my parents agree. Though my brother's words have been getting to me, I feel awful. So, am I the idiot for not allowing them? Not the idiot. The simple fact is you gave your parents and brother options. Your parents chose their grandchild over a dog for Christmas dinner. Your brother could have lunch or breakfast with your parents, but he's trying to push for the dinner for whatever reason. Christmas dinner is a family affair, not a parent, son, girlfriend, dog affair. He could have his girlfriend and a dog over earlier in the day and still come to dinner without his girlfriend and dog later. A dog does not come before a child, especially when the child is afraid of dogs, and the dog belongs to a person who may not be in all your lives in 3 months, 6 months, or a year. Good on your parents for choosing your child over a dog. Also, I can't imagine being okay with that if I were the brother. I'd think, oh wow, I don't want to do that to my niece. How can a brother and girlfriend think, oh, but this little girl should be okay for our sake? How can they not work around this? And like it's for a girlfriend, not even a fiancé or wife. Yeah, no, that's not important at all, I promise you. Not over the safety and well-being of a child. A child who, if you all cannot read, is literally in therapy to work on the issue. So maybe next year will be different. This year, the girlfriend and her dog can stay home and try again next year after some therapy if it all works out. I, nearly adult female, have a sister Rebecca, 29, who has 3 kids. Laurie, pre-tween female, Cammy, pre-tween female, and Trey, pre-tween male. I babysit them and they're really good kids. I like to bring over toys when I babysit. All their favourites are dolls. We also like watching shows and movies from doll brands. Rebecca is a vlogger with the whole beige aesthetic. It isn't my style, but it's not my business either. Now that I have a job and get paid for babysitting, plus a store discount for what I buy there, it's the first year I can buy people gifts on my own for Christmas. Most of it I got months ago. I got each of Rebecca's kids 2 dolls and something extra. There isn't anything wrong with them. All of those are child-friendly. When Rebecca heard I got them gifts, she wanted to see them. I showed her, and she said that I should have known them. She used the word us better than that, and not gotten those things. She told me to return them. I can't return most of them due to how and when I got them, and get something else that, before buying, I approved with her. I got mad and asked what was wrong with what I got, and she called them disgusting and said that they don't fit in with anything. I told her that she might not be into those things, but they aren't for her, so her preferences aren't a factor, and her kids deserve happiness. She got mad and said that they were happy and stormed out. Our mom was siding with Rebecca and told me that if I really didn't want to buy something else, I could just sign on with her gifts. I really don't want to. I got them the gifts they deserve, and I don't understand why I shouldn't just give them to them. But I could be wrong. No one is agreeing with me. Not the idiot. She's going to have a hard time because her kids will want to play with those gifts more than their other toys, which will bug her to no end. The point of having a child is to make them happy, not to have them as accessories in the background of your Insta life. It sounds like much of the family is a bunch of Grinches. Do the kids literally get stockings filled with coal? The kids don't get coal. It's not beige enough. Wood. They get shavings of wood. Yeah, Timmy, it's the wood shavings from the toys the elves made for all the other children. Just wait till they hit their teens and refuse to dress in beige, neutral, aesthetically pleasing to her and her followers. So these sad beige mom kids aren't allowed, especially at their ages, to choose the style and toys they like, not even just hidden away in their own bedrooms. I get how having your personal style can affect what you buy for your kids, especially when they're tiny. You want your baby to look cute, not like a clown. But when they grow, they get their own sense of what they like, what they want to wear and play with, etc., and that should be respected. Going as far as to put a color code for presents is just insanity. That's why kids have their room, where they can keep all the mismatched things.